Hi, welcome back. Today we are going to be changing the oil in this 2014 Toyota Tundra. Not saving a whole lot of money, I don't believe, because the oil that it takes is 0W20. Takes about 8 quarts according to the operator's manual. However, this truck has a towing package on it, so it takes a little bit more than 8 quarts. So I have to buy 2 of these 5-quart babies because that's most cost effective. We also purchased a oil filter. It's a unique oil filter which has a canister that we remove, and just make sure that when you pick your oil filter out that it actually has the O-ring kit and drain nozzle in it. I have the truck locked up on ramps. If you're going to be using jack stands, make sure you properly block the vehicle and that you position the jack stands where they're supposed to be according to the operator's manual, and also make sure you're wearing safety glasses. So I chose to use ramps because even though it's a truck, I still am a little bit too fat to fit underneath this thing comfortably. So, and we have on this vehicle a steel deflector guard that goes up underneath everything, so we need to take this off first. It's held in with 4 screws, so you want to use an extension on a 3/8 inch drive. This is a 12-inch long extension. I think you only really need 6 inches because as deep as it goes is this right here. So it just goes that deep. And this thing is held in by hooks on the front side. So take the back ones off first. Excuse me, take the front ones off first, and then take the back ones off and hold it because it's a little bit awkward. Okay, deflector shield is off. There it is. Okay, underneath the vehicle we have the oil filter canister where the filter is going to be. The wrench that you need is a wrench that looks like this. You can buy it at your auto parts store in the oil filter wrench section. It's pretty easy to find. Helpful tool. You don't necessarily need it, but it is helpful. The oil pan is right here, and there's a drain plug, and you use a 14 millimeter socket to drain it. Make sure you have the drain pan underneath there first. And I have a correction to make. On the deflector shield, I was not using the 14 millimeter socket, but I was using a 13 millimeter socket. So sorry about the mishap there. Alright, I'm going to get the oil filter pan, the oil pan in place. I'm going to drain the oil. My engine's cold, so if you just got done driving your car, please wait till your engine cools down. Otherwise, the oil is very hot. And then once I get the oil drained, then I will drain the canister, the oil out of the canister, and replace the filter. Okay, so you get this loosened up. Make sure you have a pan that has a large enough capacity to hold at least 10 quarts of oil, at least. And just unscrew it. Have a rag close by, your hands are going to get dirty. And just let her drain. Okay, while I'm waiting for it to finish draining, I took the plug and I cleaned it off, and I made sure that the gasket around the washer was not torn or anything. I made sure that the surface on the pan was clean. And I wait for about a string looks about like this before I put the plug back on. So just go ahead and put the plug back on. Get your ratchet. Righty-tighty. Lefty-loosey. Tighten it snug. Don't put too much torque on it. You just need to tighten it snug. Then take your rag, wipe off the excess. Alright, we're done with that part. We're going to take this oil and we're going to slide it out underneath the truck, and we'll take care of it later. But for right now, we're just moving it out of the way. As you can see, that's a lot of oil. Okay, so I positioned the oil pan instead underneath the oil filter canister because we're going to take this plug off. Don't worry, nothing will come out. You use your ratchet end with no socket, it fits right in there. Unscrew it. So it unscrewed pretty easily. I didn't torque it down too tight. You don't want to torque this stuff down too tight. Alright, so it just kind of like a plug. As you can see, nothing's coming out. Just gonna put this down off to the side. So in that plastic bag that came with the filter, take the plastic nozzle out, this, and screw it into here. Nice little tool that they give you. And when you screw it into here, it pushes a little plunger and allows it to drain any residual oil that's in there. It'll drain out. Careful on a windy day. And just let it drain out. Otherwise, when you take that canister off, you got a cup full of oil splashing all over. So it's a nice little tool that they give us. Okay, looks like we're in drip mode now, so I'm just going to go ahead and unscrew this. Dispose of it properly. For right now, I'm just going to put it off to the side. And now we take our filter wrench back in. And this wrench fits up there like that, and you just unscrew it. Stop. So this oil filter wrench takes a 1/2 inch drive ratchet, which is probably good because it was a little bit tight. So I grabbed my 1/2 inch drive ratchet. This one's a little bit long. Don't quite need it this long, but the leverage was handy because lots of areas up here you crack your knuckles. So we just break it loose, and then it just unscrews. We'll get it a little bit loose and do the rest by hand. So if everything goes well, when I take this off, I won't have a whole bunch of oil splashed all over me because I already drained the canister. Might have a little bit, but it's better than a waterfall or an oil fall. Make sure my pan's there. It's nice that they position this in an area of the truck where it's not getting all over everything. Alright. There we go. That's pretty cool. Just drain it. We'll get to here in a second. Okay. So this is the new filter, but in the old filter, this canister was in the middle of it, so make sure you get it out of the old filter, get it cleaned up. Make sure you have the plunger and the spring, which are in the bottom here. So the plunger holds the seal right here, so that little device that we used earlier pushed up on the spring, allowed it to drain out, that concept. And this canister thing, before we get started here, it actually fits down into here, so when you put your when you put your spring and everything in there, it fits in there and it locks into place. And now we're going to change the O-ring. So this O-ring on the outside here, you get a small jeweler's screwdriver, and on here, just gently underneath it, get it underneath it and just pry it. Can you hold this for a second?
Yes.
You don't want to scratch this. Just get it underneath the O-ring, just like this. See? And then walk it out. Just kind of pull it. Slippery. Just kind of walk it out. It just pulls right off. And you just get the new one out of the bag. The big one, not the little one. And do the same, just walk it on there. It's not too terrible. Make sure it's fit in there. Make sure you had all this cleaned off. And we'll put a nice thin layer of oil around this before we screw it back in. Alright. I'll say, so on the back side I took the filter wrench off. It was kind of stuck on there, but I popped it off. On the back side is another O-ring right here. That's for when we put the plug on. Place that one too. Same concept. Get the little screwdriver underneath there and just pop it out. Clean the surface. Clean the surface up. And put the new O-ring in place. I'm gonna go ahead and put this plug on right now, just a little bit. Just screw it on just a little bit. That way my O-ring doesn't pop off and I don't lose it. So I'm not gonna screw it all the way on yet. I'm just gonna kind of thread it. Okay, I'm ready to put the filter back in. So what I've done is I placed a spring in the end of this. See, kind of sticks in there. I put the plunger down there. The spring actually sits over the cone like that. Sorry for the shakiness. Anyways, we're gonna push down. And spin. Alright, so when you push down and spin, as you can see, it's latched in there, holding itself into place. All is good. Now, I'm going to put my new filter. Just kind of push it in there. Boom. Don't put too much pressure down or else this stupid thing will come unlatched. Alright, now this is ready to be put back into place. We'll screw this back into place. We'll snug it up too. Okay, I'm going to dip my finger in the old oil real quick. Just get a little bit of oil on it. I'm going to put it on the new O-ring. Kind of get a layer of oil on it. I don't want a dry O-ring on the metal surface. I don't want it to stick over time. And so now I'm going to just go ahead and stick this back up in here. Start threading it in. Alright, so I threaded it on there. I tightened it with the 3/8 inch drive with a 7/8 inch socket or 19mm socket, simply because I didn't want to over tighten it. Making sure that it's not cross threading and making sure that the latch mechanism is in there. But anyways, it's tightened up now. And now I'm going to take that same 3/8 inch drive ratchet, an extension, and I'm just going to tighten this plug up. Snugly. Doesn't need to be too tight. Got no ring underneath there. Yeah, that's it. Filters replaced. Oil's replaced. Next thing is to add oil and put this deflector shield back up. Alright, so this time it wasn't too bad. I knew what I had in store for me, so I just lined it up in the front here, slid it over, started my 2 front ones, and then worked my way to the back and started my back ones. Here's a trick though. You can put a piece of paper towel behind the head of the bolt so that it doesn't fall off, and it'll hold it in place. Okay, it's time to add the oil. Get yourself a clean funnel. Get it cleaned out. Oil goes right here. And 0W20. 0W20. Start with 8 quarts. Quarts. We'll add 3 more after this. Make sure it doesn't come out of there. You have to slow it down if it does. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to use 1, 2, 3. So we're going to fill it up till about that much is remaining. That would make check it. Almost there. We got down to there. It's about right. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and drive it. Put this cap back on, drive it onto a flat surface, and check my engine oil level, and top it off from there. Okay, so I've changed the oil, changed the oil. Looks like I need washer fluid. Get to that here in a second. But anyways, put the deflector shield back on. I went ahead and put 8 quarts of oil in this truck. And so what I'm going to do right now is I've already reset the maintenance minder on this, but in case you didn't know how to do it, set your tripometer or whatever you call it to trip A. Turn your key off, and then hold your reset button down while you're turning your key on. And what it'll do is it'll display resetting maintenance timer. And that's how you do it. You just wait till it gets done resetting it, and then you let go of the button. That's how you do that. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and start the truck up. see, oil pressure will kick in here in a second. There it goes. Alright. And so now, because I know it takes a little bit more than 8 quarts, I am going to pull it out of the driveway because I'm on an incline. I've already removed the blocks. I'm up on ramps. I'm going to drive down off of the ramp onto a level surface, and I'm going to check the engine oil by using the dipstick to top it off. Okay, I'm on a flat surface. My engine's off. Dipstick is on the front left side here. It's yellow. This is the dipstick. You want to wipe it off, stick it back in there, and check your level. The bottom dot is low level. The top dot is high level when the engine is warm. So we want it in between those 2 dots. So the quantity between the 2 dots is 1 quart. So I have a delivery driver behind me, so I have to move my truck. So I have to add a quart. All right, as you can see, I added just almost 1 quart. And the results are just under that dot. That's where I want to be. My engine's cold. So we're done. So since we're done, properly dispose of the oil, drain the oil back into the containers, and then dispose of the containers at your local Walmart, auto parts store, somebody that recycles the oil or properly disposes of it. So in the end, this oil change cost me $63 or $62.69, buying oil from Walmart and the filter.